Okay. Good evening. Pleasure to see everyone, and it's a pleasure to call this meeting of the Natchez Mayor and Board of Aldermen to order. I'll ask you to please stand for our invocation to be followed by our prayer. And this evening, I would like to have the opportunity to pray, if you'll allow me. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. Father, we thank you that we can now come together to make decisions on behalf of Natchez and to do things, oh Lord, that truly bring you glory as we work toward the betterment of our community. Father, we thank you for so many who have given so much to make Natchez great. And we thank you, Lord, for every person on this board. We ask your blessings upon them, their families. We ask your blessings upon our employees, upon our first responders. And Lord, tonight we also remember those who are in service to our country, keeping America safe, the men and women of our armed forces. And also, Father, we pause on this last day of Black History Month, thanking you, O Lord, for all of those great Americans who have gone before us to help make America truly free. Yes, we have a ways to go, but Father, so much has been done, and we celebrate these great patriots in all of the work they've done. Let us, as all Americans, give thanks for this month of February, a time that has been truly dedicated to paying homage to these individuals. Now be with us in every way. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let us now join together in reciting our pledge. We would be honored to. Well, we were going to introduce them. Let's do it right now. Ricky Warren, why don't you recognize the Scouts, and we'll have them lead us in the pledge.
The Natchez Rotary Club. And right here I have my grandson, Brent Warren. We have Ron Brumfield's grandson, Aiden Price. We have Ashley Pfizer, who's new to our troop, and his granddaughter, Claire Price. And this is Ron Brumfield, one of my assistants. And I'm supposed to have about 3 more scouts coming up on where they are, but if you don't mind letting them lead.
It'd be a pleasure. If y'all will, come forward and lead us.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Scout hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for being here tonight and your service to our community. I'll now recognize the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall.
Here.
Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Dillard.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all are present and counted.
All right, great. We will go ahead and follow the agenda this evening for the approval of minutes, Madam Clerk.
Okay, tonight we have request for approval of the regular board meeting held on January 24th, of course, with any necessary corrections.
So moved with
Second.
with the approval of our attorney.
Okay, motion made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I think it was the 24th. We had our meeting. And it's January 24th, the 4th page. I just wanted, it was in my comments, sir. And I had said, just to add, because this was omitted from my comments. It was during the MML conference. I attended the municipal law class. The presenter in the meeting stated that all invoices should be brought to, pertaining to the docket should be brought to every meeting. And that was not what was stated here on the minutes. So I just want that added for corrections, please.
Okay, thank you, Alderwoman. Any further discussion?
It's on page 4.
Any further discussion? All right. We'll call for the question. Second,
Second.
I'm going to ask this question. Is there anyone who does not agree with the call to question and proceeding to a vote? Seeing that we don't have any objection to that, we will then proceed with the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And, Mr. Mayor, I have
Next
one other
item.
set of minutes. This would be the special call board meeting held on February 2nd. Of course, same stipulation approving these with any corrections after the attorney has reviewed.
All right, thank you. What's the pleasure of the board?
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion.
Yes.
Yes,
Mayor.
Alderman Frazier.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on the motion that's made, I will be voting nay, because the way the procedure that this meeting went down, so I will be voting nay.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion
Mayor.
on the motion? Alderwoman
Yes,
Hall.
the only correction needs to be, it was a special call, not a regular call,
Mhm.
and that will be corrected in the minutes.
All
And
right, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, we'll call for the question.
Second.
The question has been called. I will ask again, is there anyone who objects to the call to the question? May we proceed with a vote? Hearing none, we'll proceed with a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay,
All right, we'll roll call that. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
nay,
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillon.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you so much. Mr. Warren, you have more scouts now here, and I'd like to ask you to just come to the podium and share a little bit about scouting here in Natchez and also make another introduction of your scouts. Oh, I must add, our rules do restrict you to 5 minutes.
I won't be
just wanna
that
let
long,
you
I
know
promise.
that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Aldermen, and everyone attending, we want to, first off, thank you for having us here today for this meeting. What we're doing is, there's a citizenship in the community merit badge that all the scouts have been working on for the last month or so. And the last requirement is to attend a town meeting or board of supervisors meeting. So we chose this one. It's better for us, to do it at night like this. And so that's what they're doing. This is their final requirement for that. This weekend, we had a nice camp out in Tylertown, Mississippi. And we spent the night over there by the American Legion Hall. And it was for them to earn another merit badge called Wilderness Survival. And what they had to do was they had to build their own shelters on Saturday. We went Friday night, but Saturday they had to learn more about wilderness survival and what it takes to survive if you're lost in the woods and things like that. And one of them was to build a shelter, and they built their shelters and they slept in them overnight Saturday. So we're talking like just a lean-to type tarp with no sides on it, just a tarp bottom. Some of the other scouts may have made one out of sticks and stuff like that, but they all slept in them, and they had a great time, enjoyed themselves. And so it was a good thing. And Scouts has been around since 1910. And we call it Scouts now. As you can see, there's more than boys in Scouts now. But we're sponsored by the Natchez Rotary Club. We're probably one of the oldest troops in the area, been sponsored since 1928. And I've been in scouting since 1988. So I really enjoy doing it. It's a pleasure, and it's an awesome experience to award a young man his Eagle Scout. There are a lot of senators, a couple of presidents, or maybe more than that have been Eagle Scouts. A lot of astronauts. First man on the moon was an Eagle Scout. A lot of other people that are famous, have been Eagle Scouts, and that had a lot to do with them being who they are. What we do is we teach, they have to learn a certain amount of merit badges and do service projects in order to become an Eagle. And a lot of those merit badges, there's been like a whole lot of scouts that have taken merit badges, and that's they found something that piqued their interest, and that's what they do for their living now. Whether it be something as like a welder or even, politician or whatever, it's different merit badges they have to earn to get where they're going. And I've got one that's, two that are getting very close to their Eagle. And due to COVID, you see our numbers are not like they should be. We had to shut down for almost 2 years. We were active, but we couldn't recruit. We couldn't get anybody new in and things like that. And it kind of shut our little Cub pack down where we were drawing our boys from the Cub pack. And so right now I'll introduce them to you. If y'all want to stand again, just we have some new entries. Starting with Claire Price on the end and Ashley Pfizer. Mr. Pfizer and his wife are here too. Y'all may know them. They were running Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Auburn. Yeah, they were managing Auburn for you for a while. All right. And Ashley got really involved with our scouting troop this fall. And we have Hayden Price, my grandson, Brent Warren. And we have Xander, that's spelled with an X. Xander and his sister, Reagan Schaefer. All right. And we have in the back, we'll stand up, our female scoutmaster is Nikki Schaefer. Nikki worked for the post office. She delivers mail. And then we have Ron Brumfield, who's been with me quite a while too, as an assistant. So they do a great job on you can't run it without those. And we have a few more that are not here. Robert Paradise, he's got COVID, and his little granddaughter was supposed to be here, and I don't know. Hopefully she hadn't gotten it, and a couple of more scouts that didn't make it tonight. But
that's wonderful.
our numbers are down. Actually, we have 7 girls and 4 boys right now, and one boy on the way. That Nikki's youngest son is about to join. He's getting close. So
That's wonderful.
it's a wonderful program. We thank everyone for letting us be here, and we're just going to sit back and
invite you to come, and we'll get a picture with them.
Okay. All right.
And I'll invite any.
Okay. And my scouts had one question that you may not can answer for us. The American flag is one of the important symbols of scouting. Even though Lord Baden-Powell is from England, the Boy Scouts for America was formed from an England group. And we retire flags when they're time to retire them. We see flags that need to be taken down, and we worry about them, and we see places where flags need to be put up. So our question for you and the board today is, at the Natchez Transit Building, there are 3 completely brand new flagpoles that have been put up, and there are no flags on those poles. So we were just wondering why not.
We would be honored, and we'd love to have you.
If we could come
with Sabrina Barton,
okay,
and make that happen.
we would love to do the honors of raising the first flag there, the state flag, the American flag, and the Natchez flag.
We'd like for that to happen very much.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
All right, we glad we're on this side over there to balance it out. That'd be perfect. Okay, great.
Are you a scout?
I was actually the youngest of 4 boys. By the time I came around, my dad said, but I wasn't my first scout. Oh, that's great. Thank you again. We'll continue with our meeting. Other city business, we have Walter Tipton here with us, and this is rather exciting. As you know, we passed a bond last year to allow us to begin making improvements to our convention center, and the schedule is getting very busy at the convention center and at the civic center. And so Mr. Tipton has brought to us what will be our first investment, some new staging. Mr. Tipton, I'm going to recognize you, and first I want to thank you for all of your years of service to Natchez in various capacities, and for the great job you do at our convention center.
Thank you for that, and I really appreciate y'all letting us on the agenda and the support we've always had from the mayor and board of aldermen. I'd also like to say that I'm an Eagle Scout from Natchez.
All right.
And certainly identify with that group. We had a request from the Festival of Music, the music director, Jay Dean, to purchase some newer staging for the convention center. This raised our awareness because we already had on our list a plan to purchase additional staging as part of our upgrade. So it was in our plans. And we've also had requests from the Bandmasters Group, which comes in December every year for the last couple of years, for us to purchase additional staging. Each year when they come in December, we borrow staging from the high school in order to match the hours to service that conference. That conference alone has had over a $3 million economic impact to our city. So we feel like staging is important. It's an important aspect because we have multiple purpose facilities. So we need this portable staging to support these. And those are just two significant groups to mention that in and of themselves justify this. So we took our specs from the Festival of Music information. We verified quotes. We took 2 quotes, and this is a purchase under $75,000. So in order to justify the purchase, you have to receive 2 quotes. And Justin will pull up the 2 quotes that we have. The first one is from Stage Depot. It's for $50,915. This is the one that's recommended by the Festival of Music. They're 4 by 8 foot staging sections, and to do our due diligence, we got an estimate from Stage Right, which would be the second estimate that Dustin will pull up. And that estimate is actually about $10,000 more at $62,328. So we are recommending that the city clerk be authorized to purchase equipment for the city of Natchez and utilize the lower bid of $50,915.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
A motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion.
Yes,
Alderman Frazier.
Mr. Tip,
Yes,
how many stages do we have now?
we have about 20 stages now, and they are 6 by 8,
Okay. How many we are looking to purchase? now?
27.
27.
This is the number of pieces that you need to make about a 40 by 30 stage.
So on the back wall, so the stage that we're gonna get, it's gonna go all the way around, come all the way around now. If we get the new ones,
No, sir, it
you're
won't.
just gonna have to just,
It'll just be enough to support a festival of music or a band.
okay.
Exactly.
Further discussion?
Is it in the budget, Madam?
This would be coming out of the bond proceeds for the convention center complex renovations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll call for the question.
Call.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Before we go to a vote, is everyone comfortable with the call to the question? Is there any more discussion? In that case, we won't go to a vote on the call to the question. We'll go right to the vote. I will now ask all in favor please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries.
And if I could just make two other comments. One is that Mr. Ruther wanted to ensure that the board is informed that this June will make the last payment on the TIF bond that was made to support the Grand Hotel as a complement to the convention center. So that bond will pay off in June of this year, and it will pay off with a balance, a surplus in the funds used to pay that bond. That's a very important mile mark for our convention center. And of course, in April, we will be 21 years old as a convention center. And leading into that 21-year birthday, in March, we have the Gideons, who are checking in tomorrow. Behind them, we have the Apostolic Crusaders of Louisiana, the Mississippi Missionary Baptist Convention, the Rotary Club President-Elect's Training Conference, the Mississippi National Guard State Conference, the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. In April, we have the Spring Market, a district which will be a 5-state Key Club convention, the Mississippi Solid Waste Operators Association, and the National Association of Ministry Assistants. It's about the fullest spring schedule we've ever had since we've been open. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you. Mr. Tipton, that's all such good news. Thank you so much. Thank you. While we're in other city business, I do have some business to report. First of all, Alderman Dillard, thank you for bringing forward some issues in the local paper. In fact, I read the article just a few minutes ago, and we are a work in progress, and the city works so hard to do everything properly, but we always can stand to have some input and some feedback. It is true that Robert's Rules of Order is something we adhere to in these meetings, along with, though, in sync with our code charter. And part of that in moving conversation along is our use of the call to the question. The call to the question is basically acknowledged when it appears that it's time to move toward a vote and that a voting majority wishes to do so. In the last 2.5 years, as a matter of expediency, when I look around and feel like we have had discussion, it's time to move to a vote, I acknowledge that and we move on. But if you have noticed tonight, I'm going to begin doing things a little differently. And we'll do it this way from now on. Before we actually move to a vote, once a call has been made, I will ask if that is suitable to everyone, if there's an objection. If I hear no objection, that will mean, in my opinion, that we don't need a vote on the call to question and we'll go straight to a vote. If it appears that more discussion is warranted and a majority of the board wants that, we will continue with discussion. So I hope that's okay, and I hope that's a resolution.
Point well made. I couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. Mayor. I have dug through Robert's Rules of Order, and I've also found out that the city's code charter has its own procedural process. But the underlying fact there, and it goes through all of this, is that we have to allow for a full discussion and for those that oppose the discussion to be able to have their points made. It goes to our democracy. It's not the freedom of speech to agree with everyone. What difference would that make? It is the freedom of speech to be able to, disagree with the issues at hand. So I think that in that vein of fairness to the board and to the discussions that have gone on here, and then we have these young peoples here, is that in an orderly manner, you can have a discussion and you can disagree. But you have to be civil about it and you have to be constructive about it. And if you do those things, that's how we will resolve the differences that we have. And we do have differences of opinion. Differences are a good thing. And it's not always the loudest voice that is right. Sometimes it's a soft-spoken voice that you have to listen to where the truth lies. And that's where our democracy goes to the truth. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you. Thank you. Alderwoman Smith.
I was just gonna say, for everyone's benefit, could you say what call for the question is for?
Yes, call for the question means basically that the board is ready to take action on the question before us. And that means to move to a vote.
And
Well,
I do want to just reiterate, mention that this is my third term, and this is the first term, mayor's term that we've ever really used it unless discussion got way long, which is, I think, was the purpose of what we're doing. You were trying to do it on every motion, but past we never did. So anyway, I'm fine for however it needs to be done.
Right.
But a lot of things we just have not done, and people serving on this board previously remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
All right,
one-
thank you.
one
Yes,
more
Alderman
comment to
Dillard.
that one, and I do have Robert's rules here, which kind of explains it, because actually the call to question really is the call to the previous question. And it's an archaic term that was brought about from English parliamentarians. This is the name of the special motion. The previous question comes from its uses in the British Parliament. The meaning of the motion has nothing to do with any question previously considered under. It's a carryover. But what it basically means in contemporary terms is to end the discussion. Now, so that point where it is, and to speak to the Alderman, in fairness, it has just been recently where the call came so quickly in the discussion that it limits the discussion. I can think of the interim police chief, nomination, and I can think that the last go around, I actually timed it. You can do it on YouTube. From the time you made your motion to the time the vote was taken was 12 minutes and 35 seconds. I don't think that's an exhaustive discussion. Maybe it wasn't as clean as it should have been, but I don't think 12 minutes is too much to have a discussion on important topics that pertain to the city of Natchez. I mean, 12 minutes, you can't even get in and out of the Walmart checkout line in 12 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Dillard. Thank you. I do want to, though, I do want to speak to the article that I read. It stated that the motion was made by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall, and immediately Alderman Dillard, I do remember you asked a question.
Yes.
And then the paper reported that then the motion was made for the previous question. We immediately went to a vote. That is inaccurate. If you go back, you will be able to listen to the 12 minutes of discussion
That's right.
that was allowed. And we did go back and forth. Even though there were some calling for the question, I did want the discussion to continue. It did go for 12 minutes, and yes, it could have gone longer for sure. I thank you, everyone. I think the bottom line is definitely what you said, Alderman Dillard. It's important that we be civil and we be respectful of one another.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
I'm glad that we got this out in the open and everybody see what's going on now. And I think after this and everything, I think we can move along a little more speedy and like I say, every issue that comes before this board is very important and it deserve some issues deserve a lengthy discussion and some don't. So I'm glad that the Mayor Pro Tem brought this forward.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Other city business, I also want to report on something. Just about an hour ago, I had a very good discussion with Mr. Dante Ware. Mr. Ware, as you know, is the chairman of our Civil Service Commission, and we discussed the position of police chief. Yesterday ended the 5 days for the posting of the position, and yesterday the Department of Human Resources received confirmation from 3 ranking officers that they did not desire to pursue the position of police chief, leaving only one candidate, that candidate being our interim chief, Cal Green. The Civil Service Commission has met. They recommend the appointment of Chief Green to be our new chief. Also, one of the candidates who declined to apply for the position, Commander Jerry Ford, provided a very supportive statement endorsing the appointment of Cal Green. With that said, and understanding that we do need to make a position permanent by March 6th, this being the last meeting of this month, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Cal Green to be the full-time permanent chief of police for the city of Natchez.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
I'm not fully confident in the civil service having the authority to do that. I don't have any issues with Commander Green, but I don't think civil service can do that without. I don't think we had enough discussion on it from the first time. We went from interim chief, now we're going to chief, and we had 3 candidates. And this, if we were going to do it like that, we could have did that the first time. But we did the interim job, and the same 3 people that applied for the job, way that process went, and way that those individuals that was interim chief, and way they was interviewed, I don't think I'd apply for the job neither, because in all honesty, they know that they're not going to get the job, so I wouldn't apply for it neither. So to me, I think this process is wrong, and so that's just the way I feel, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Alderman Dillard.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and now that we got the call question down, maybe we can work on the agenda. I think a topic of this should have been included in today's agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it kind of is a very transparent and upfront sort of thing. And fair enough, we knew this day was coming, but I think for the record, and I would like this will be recorded in the record, but it should be on the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Further discussion?
So I just want to ask, so moving
Yes.
forward, Mr. Mayor, will we have everything on the agenda when we get it? I know, but sometime on Fridays, we get an agenda. We get one on Monday, and then we get to the meeting on Tuesday. We still have another agenda. And I realize that you can amend a regular meeting agenda, but that's quite a bit to constantly add. And then we're not familiar with any of the material. So sometimes contracts, it's a number of things, items that we have that has to be read, but we want to vote. So I'm asking, that's how we move forward with our meetings and the agendas, that we will have the information in our hand? But the agenda will be set.
We do our best. As you know, when we are in these meetings that are our regular meetings, motions can be made. We keep the business of the city moving forward that way. Now, when we have a special call meeting, obviously, we have to set that agenda at no less than 3 hours before the meeting, and we can't change it after that. Mr. Callaway, is there anything to add?
Well, since you brought
But
that
we
up, Mr.
certainly
Mayor,
can, endeavor.
I just want to ask a question, because this
Yes,
is
Alderwoman.
puzzling to me, since we're speaking on that. On the first agenda that we received on February the 22nd, it has, this was in a special call meeting. And the reason why I'm asking, because you said a key word, amend. And that's my question, because I did not receive the second agenda. It was dropped off at my home. I was out of town at an appointment, and I drove straight on here. I stopped by my house, and this had just been delivered, the second one.
Yes.
But I'm asking, can you amend a special call meeting? Because it's set already. When you come to the next meeting, it should be everything that's on that agenda. I'm asking a question, Mr. Attorney.
Yes. Mr. Attorney, would you like to respond to the
Notice
question?
needs to be delivered 3 hours before the meeting is how the charter agrees.
Okay, so let me ask this. If it was not delivered to that individual, it was delivered to my home, but I had no contact with it. So how do I prepare myself?
There's a lot of rules that are ancient in our charter that the previous administrations have not changed. One of them we probably need to look at is the world is sped up, and we are communicating electronically, and these are sent out to everybody by email. And I think most people have phones that receive emails and everything. So we're communicating the best we can, trying to move the city business along. That's-
I'm not for stopping progress.
I must
just was
I
more or
must
less
direct
asking a question.
discussion. If we are following our rules, we must direct discussion back to the motion that is currently before us. But thank you for the discussion and bringing that forward, Alderwoman. Further discussion on the motion regarding the hire of a police chief. Further discussion. We'll call for the question. Second.
Second.
Is there anyone who opposes the call to the question and proceeding to a vote? Hearing no objection, we'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Nay on the process.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillon.
Aye.
The ayes have it, motion carries. With that said, yes.
State the motion
The motion was to appoint Cal Green to be our permanent chief.
with the motion about the process.
No.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Alderman Frazier.
I don't think she had the right to question that.
Um,
On the process, you had the process. I don't think you had the right to question.
When an alderperson asks a question, we simply try to answer it. At this time, I'm going to ask the chief to come forward. And Chief, I'm sporting some different spectacles here because I don't have my regular glasses. I left them at the house. Can you believe that? But I got to have these on because I got to read an oath. That means you got to take an oath. There's no time like the present, right? We're going to ask anyone who'd like to come and stand.
You have a Bible?
Yes, I have one. You're familiar with this Bible? You put your hand on it before.
Yeah.
This is I would like to. This is my mother's Bible, and it was handed down to me, and I have had the opportunity to take an oath on it several times myself, along with others. I consider oath taking to be so important, especially when you're taking an oath to be the chief of police. And so what I'd like for you to do is to raise your right hand and put your left hand on the Bible. And if you would, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Caroline Green,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Mississippi,
of the State of Mississippi,
and obey the laws thereof.
and obey the laws thereof,
That I am not disqualified
that I am not disqualified
from holding the office
from holding the office
of Chief of Police
of Chief of Police
for the City of Natchez.
for the City of Natchez,
That I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Amen.
Would you make a statement?
Congratulations to the first female chief of police. Did you hear me?
The first female chief of police.
We're all Southern town.
We can do it right. I mean, congratulations.
I want to say, you said your mom.
Look, we need to get a picture. Come on, Chief.
Somebody can do it.
I'm going to put this up here.
And what are we doing? New car?
We're getting a picture.
It was the last day of Black History Month.
We need to wait, if someone will ask, Alderwoman Smith to come back in. We need her to stand with you as, while we're waiting, I wanted to say this. I haven't been able to go anywhere the last few days without someone grabbing me and telling me they support you And also, I've gotten so much great feedback from the Rotary Club and from the Kiwanis Club. But I also have gotten great feedback from Sheriff Patton. Sheriff Patton has spoken so highly already of the way y'all are working together. I appreciate that. Really, really do. Yes. And Alderwoman Smith, who knows.
She's coming. She went in her car.
Sorry. All right. You know, while we're waiting, I wanted to say our scout over here, Mr. Warren, you're Brian's son, right? I used to work with Brian. I remember when you were born.
That's right.
You would.
Brian Warren.
This is a historic moment. It is. We have another. Everybody got it? Okay. Thank you.
Keep going. Keep trying.
Travis and Brian.
I was at the police probably when they both.
Chief Green. Chief Green, if you will, get this one. Get this one. Notarized. This one's for officer.
How do we ever get out of that?
Yeah, you know,
Move to the next meeting. If the meeting says,
you know your family gonna be,
I know.
you nobody called, really, nobody. Inez, nobody, you didn't know.
So, yeah.
yeah, you can.
But I got it.
With the supermajority. But let's
All right. I thank everyone. We now will move to our department directors' reports. Another fine chief serving the city of Natchez, Robert Arrington. We recognize you, Chief Arrington, at this time.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
evening.
Why y'all make me follow that, man? So today I am here to ask to surplus 2 older vehicles that we have. One of the vehicles is pretty much inoperable. The other one has been requiring a lot of money. So I just want to move those 2 vehicles to the surplus. Hopefully we'll get some money for them. But I've spoken with Mr. Peoples at Public Works about, how we handle that, auctioning them off or whatever we can do for them. Now, if at all possible, if we can't sell one of them, I would love to have it for training. But of course, that is a decision up to the board.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion has been made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion on the motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
I guess my question is but first, do you have the VIN numbers, the mileage, the description of the vehicle?
I do.
And then the second thing, Mr. Attorney, do we have to surplus it first?
we have to surplus it, and then that was my question, is what are we gonna do with the vehicles? We're going to make another decision on that at some point.
So, and that's what I'm asking for now is to surplus those 2 vehicles. They're both Crown Vics. One is red in color, burgundy. The other one is gray. I have all of that information. I don't know. I said it somewhere, but I have all of that information.
I can actually clarify. The motion is to approve the surplus status for fire department vehicles, but pertinent to Alderman Dillard's point, we do need to specify in the motion the actual vehicles.
I take its word for it, but I wouldn't want it to be a 2002
in our minutes,
and we need to get a new one.
In our minutes, it does need to specify what the year, the mileage, and VIN number.
Okay.
It does. Do you want to come back with
Yes,
that?
if you give me 2 minutes, if it's not right here, it's right in my truck. I can grab it.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, Alderman Frazier?
These vehicles that we're gonna surplus, we're gonna put them in the pool with Public Works for the other company auction. We have an auction every year.
Yes, that was the plan when I spoke to Mr. Peoples. Yes, sir. One of them, we were questioning if it would sell. because of the condition that it's in. So if we are not able to get enough money for that one, I would love to have it for training. I think the value in it would be, us practicing our extrication skills. Right now, it's really, really hard to get vehicles that we can basically cut up, but we do need that training and practice, and that car would be a good one to teach with.
All right, Mr. Attorney, what's your recommendation?
I would withdraw the motion, Mr. Mayor, and take this up at a subsequent meeting.
All right, we're going to, if you would, we're going to ask that the motion be withdrawn.
Okay.
And they'll, thank you, and they'll be brought back when you have all of the pertinent information. And we can do that in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's right outside. I got you.
All right, we'll be ready. Great. With that said, we are now to the city officials' reports. While we have the city officials' reports, I'm going to ask the Mayor Pro Tem to take over for just a minute. I have to step out, but I won't be long.
$5 in the seat. Yeah. All right, no motions to call.
We're on city
City
officials.
officials.
Oh, yeah, we can start with the city officials report. Alderman.
No
Hall.
report.
That's a new one. Alderman Frazier?
Yes. First, I would like to say that this past weekend, I attended, and I know it's gonna come up in Alderwoman Urban Report. I attended the Black History Program at the Macedonian Baptist Church on Manor Street. It was a very nice program that's put on by Alderwoman Urban. We had a lot of couple of local officials there and a lot of church members. And like I said, it was very nice, very beautiful that you did that. Also, Mr. Attorney, I'm still having Mr. Robinson is calling me in reference to a meeting with you and the mayor. And I want to know when we're going to get that meeting set up.
I will reschedule, Alderman.
Okay.
I gotta get dates from the mayor.
Okay. I like to look into that. Now, the mayor is not here, but I would like to, as you know, we having a lot of bad weather and stuff. And I have a lot of people in my ward where about they're having erosion problems, and they've been calling. I wish James Johnson was here so I can go into more details. I had people calling me on West Street and not Louisiana Street, West Hills Lane, and also Old Washington Road. But I need to look into getting some kind of funding and getting those projects done. The mayor, like I said, the mayor is not here, but also we have a big erosion problem behind the New Beginning Baptist Church on Triumph Lane. And also that property butt up to Maryland Heights subdivision. Now, what they're having is that over the years, that erosion is about to take the back end of that church, and they have I would say a canyon about deep as this building. And we need to see about getting some kind of funding to get that project done. It is my understanding that during this month, I know that we attended another program, a New Beginning, the Black History Program, and Congressman Benny Thompson was there. And the mayor, also Representative Robert Johnson was there. They went back and looked at this project. And according to Benny Thompson, Representative Benny Thompson, that the money is there for us to get this project done. Because if we don't get this project done as soon as possible, not only New Beginning going to go off into the creek, also Maryland Heights subdivision going to go off into the creek. And as you say, I talked to some of the board members on the board of the church, and they said that Thompson expressed to the mayor that the money was there, the infrastructure money was there, and Representative Johnson stated that the money there. So, Madam Clerk, I'd like for you to enter that, if I could, enter that in my report of the minutes, that the money is there, and I was requesting that the mayor, when he go to Washington DC, go and get funding for this project. So we can get that done, because like I say, this is a very serious problem. We're having all kinds of problems with that erosion over there. Secondly, now next, I'm having problems with, in my ward, I know Alderwoman Smith gave me the number, but I'm still having problems with street light out and stuff. If we don't get those street lights fixed, we're having a serious crime problem. So that's one of the issues that over in my ward that I'm facing right now, getting street lights. And also I'm having problems with, it's not just in my ward, it's all over town. And like due to the weather condition, I'm having potholes, and I'm gonna get with Mr. Dollar and see can I get those potholes fixed. They're downtown, all over town. So I need to get that addressed as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. That is the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Alderman. Alderwoman Smith,
No report.
Alderwoman Irving.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to reiterate what Alderman Frazier stated. The Black History program that was saluting and celebrating Black business in the city of Natchez was very successful. But I also want to thank my church, Macedonia Baptist Church family, NAACP, and the Natchez Business and Civic League. We partnered together to make this event come to fruition within such a short period of time. But it was a very successful program. We had over 70 businesses to attend. There were over 100 recognized, and they're calling and asking for their certificates, because there were really a lot of things going on this past Sunday. Basically, other churches had Black History programs, and so there were a lot of things going on. But we look forward to next year. This is going to become an annual event because we realize that each month there are new businesses coming here in Natchez. And so we want to add those businesses to the Black Business Directory so that people will have choices as to where they want to go. Restaurants, photography, all those businesses that are registered, they'll be able to have access to barbershops, hair salons. And we just have a number of businesses that we are excited about. And that's a big plus and a win-win for the city of Natchez, this great city. We have lots of new businesses moving forward. Also, I would like to report, and I'm just going to give this number out. I realize Mr. Rutter is not here tonight. He's the one who would normally handle pole lights that are out. So I will call those in on tomorrow. One other thing I want to address is dilapidated property on Winston Hill, number 9. And I'm putting it out here because I want my constituents to realize that I've had these discussions. And so now that we've hired our new code enforcement officer, Mr. Grover, I will reach out to him and Mr. Baldwin. I know he's learning the community, the streets, the neighborhoods where these properties are located. So I've asked him, let's give him time so that he could become more familiar with the locations that we're referring to. And last but not least, I want to send out words of encouragement at this time for our employee, Mr. Edmund Perrault. I think he lost his mother. I think I read that correct. I want to offer my sincere condolences to the Perrault family. My Sarah, Mrs. Frances Doss, in the loss of her son, and Sarah Canethia Doss. Also, Mr. Gerald Wiley. And there are many more that I could name, but I want to ask this board to please consider adjourning this board meeting this evening in memory of those names and other members of our community that we've lost, Mayor, this week and last week. And that ends my report, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you also, Mayor Pro Tem Dillard. We will now move on to Alderman Davis.
I only have one thing to put out. I got the lights put up and the old Watson Road to the entrance of Holiday's apartment, it's well lit now. And so that ends my report.
All right. Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Dillard, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report.
Okay. Well, that concludes the reports. We will now go to the city clerk. Madam Clerk, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item I have is request for approval of the 2nd February 2023 claims docket.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion?
Yes, sir. I have a few
Yes,
questions.
Alderwoman Irving.
And I'm just asking for clarity here. Public hearing. Gonna ask, it's for advertising, but was that a public hearing for us here or was that for another organization with the city of Natchez? Like,
No, that would have been an invoice that we were paying for the posting in the newspaper for notice of a public hearing.
but which hearing? That's what I'm asking. Do we know which?
The most recent one that we've had was for the redistricting.
Okay. On page 10, is this, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me, Springbrook Holding Company, is that Springbrook our software?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. So we update that subscription each year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And, I guess, page 17, Adams County Road Department.
This was material that Public Works purchased from the Adams County Road Department for, I believe, pothole and other repairs.
Okay. And page 23. I just want to ask a question. When I look at the budget status report and I see account number 001524, there's nothing budgeted for that. So all three of these items here are on.
I'll make a note to go back and double check that code wasn't keyed in incorrectly, because that does happen occasionally. So
Okay,
I'll
okay,
certainly double check. I don't recall what that line item is off the top of my head.
okay. And that ends my,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Further discussion?
Yes,
Yes, Alderman Fraser.
I'd just like to ask a question. I was listening to her report about public works purchasing some material from the county.
Yes, sometimes if they have excess and it's something that we need right away, and getting it from a supplier, then we can actually get it cheaper from the county to take care of immediate repairs.
I have, well, it might sound frivolous, but I have concerns about that. The public works director and the county director is father and son. Is that gonna be legal, Mr. Attorney?
They just work for each of the entities. I don't see a problem that would cause us purchasing from the county if we need a supply or
Even though his father is the road director too, and he's the director?
there's, people are related all over the city. We couldn't do business I just don't see the problem, Alderman Fraser, without
Oh,
addressing.
you don't see the problem right now?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm just inquiring.
Any further discussion? We'll call for the question. Is everyone fine with the call for the question? Hearing no objection, we'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item I have is request for approval of the 2nd February 2023 mini claims docket.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes, that was one.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, it's gonna be account claims number 18390. Can you explain that a little bit more detailed? Again,
18390.
these,
There were apparently some invoices from Natchez newspaper, which is the Natchez Democrat, that were not received by our accounts payable clerk. And so Ms. Griffey with Natchez newspaper, Natchez Democrat, reached out to me trying to resolve. She got me several invoices that had not been paid. So this was one large payment to catch up. I think there were about 6 invoices that had never made it to us for different ads that the city had run in the paper, where we had the city's budget published, and so forth.
okay. Now, one of the things I do want to say is that will you please note that I'm supposed to do what? I'm supposed to not be approve that everything in the budget with the exception of what? The fire department.
Correct.
So will you please make sure that goes in the minutes? Thank you.
All right.
Alderwoman Smith.
Mr. Mayor, just to be totally transparent, I just saw that the card services was UMB. I don't. that
Not
would
United
matter.
Mississippi Bank.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that's our state purchasing card. It's
Okay.
handled by UMB
Missouri.
Card Processing Services.
Another one. Okay.
A different UMB. All right. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure.
Further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Second.
Any opposed to the call to the question? Hearing none, we'll move then to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
And Mr. Mayor, also, I've got 3 more items. I know that my report only had 2, but I had a couple of last minute things come up that are pretty standard routine.
All right.
So my next item is request for approval of the interfund loans, which was a loan in the amount of $1,000 that was made from the general fund to the auditorium maintenance. And this was to cover docket expenses until we had some payments come through that had not posted yet.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. All right. Alderman Dillard has made a motion to approve, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
So I do.
Yes,
I do.
Alderwoman
So
Irving.
then my question is, so we wait on funding to pay those people who cleaned up?
Sometimes the way they overlap, it just happens that way. And so rather than hold payments until things are posted, then we do the loans so that we local small business vendors paid and functioning and
Okay,
working.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Further discussion? We'll call for the question. Any opposed to the call for the question? We'll proceed then to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My next item is request for approval of the interfund transfers. This second sheet was left on your respective desks at the beginning of the meeting. This was a budgeted transfer from gaming tax to bond and interest for the interest payment on the 2022 capital improvement bond.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion. Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
The capital improvement bond.
That's the one that included the police department, the council chambers, the canteen, fire department, several, the
Okay,
bluff, several different city properties.
okay. We need a refresher. There's nothing wrong with
No,
coming
no,
back
and
and
Not
look,
at
we
all.
did
refresher.
a lot with the bonds at one time. So
Right, we did recreation. I'm looking at that, see, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Second.
Any opposition to the call? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, any other?
Yes, my final item is request for approval of the premium pay resolution. We did one of these previously that was brought before the board by Chief Arrington for the fire department. This one is actually for the Natchez Police Department so that they can receive the premium pay funds from the Mississippi Department of Public Safety. So it's no expense to the city. It will just go to the qualified officers at the Natchez Police Department. And this resolution just allows us to move forward with the application to receive those funds.
Right, pleasure of the board.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
Do we have, how much they gonna get?
1,000.
It's
A piece?
$1,000 per officer.
Bob? Okay.
That's good. Thank you, Tim.
That is good. Any further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
Any opposed? We'll proceed to a vote then. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. I have to say, we're on really good behavior for the scouts tonight. Just let it be shown.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I think they have brought out the better angels of our nature. We should have you at every meeting. Thank you. Does that conclude your report?
That does, Mr.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
thank you.
Mr. Attorney, do you have a report this evening?
I do, Mr. Mayor, and I apologize to the board when things get brought to your attention at the last minute. But last week, this board approved investing the bond funds with Trinity Capital with a custody agreement to be executed with Trustmark. One thing we didn't do was designate signatories and who can do online information. So I prepared a quick resolution authorizing, it rehashes authorizing approving of the two contracts that we approved last week and designates the mayor and the clerk as signatory authority and designates the clerk as administrator for all online actions regarding the accounts. I can read this motion, or I could ask for a motion to dispense with reading of the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Let's just state the motion that you would like for the board to make.
The motion would be to waive reading of the resolution authorizing approving temporary investment of unused bond funds with the correction of temporary, because my secretarial skills leave something to be desired. That's not part of the motion. And approve the resolution authorizing and approving temporary
So
investment of unused bond funds.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Alderman Dillard, seconded by Alderman Davis. We'll have discussion. We'll call for the question. Second.
Second.
Are any opposed to the call? In that regard, we will then proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
I have one more thing for the board members, Mr. Mayor. This board will call earlier. There was a question about can aldermen attend committee meetings as a public sitting, private citizens as opposed to a public figure. I did contact the ethics commissions. They do not render formal opinions, but as I stated earlier, 4 aldermen make a quorum. You cannot go to a meeting as a public or private citizen and make a quorum and continue to hold that meeting. I did pull a copy of the ethics opinion earlier that was rendered, I think, in 2021, and highlighted it for Alderwoman Irving to address that question.
Okay, so ma'am, just make.
Yes,
sure,
Alderwoman Irving.
Even though there's no discussion, because we can actually go to dinner, 4 people. We've been told this before, 4 people can go to dinner. There's no discussion on city business. And then it still constitute a quorum, but there's no city business being discussed.
In a
I'm
committee,
just
committee meeting, it would be different, Alderwoman, and this opinion, this Alderwoman in Greenville went to the committee meeting, simply to hear the discussions regarding speed bumps and criminal activity from residents in the ward, but she did not participate in the discussion. And that was deemed to be a quorum and improper. So, and committee meetings are different than.
But there's no
dinner
voting,
or-
no any of that. I mean, I get that, but I'm just stating my point as well. Because
We're in a position that the committee could make a decision, take a vote when you come into the meeting, or anybody extra comes into an alderman meeting that defines a quorum. At a minimum, it is an appearance of impropriety, and most likely is deemed to be a violation of ethics because there could be a vote taken.
All right, thank you. Mr. Attorney, thank you for your report. We'll move now to the mayor's report. I have a few things. I want to, first of all, well, Dustin has stepped away. We'll come back to that in just a minute. I want to make a couple comments regarding code enforcement and animal control. Officer Grover is on the job now every day working and being assisted by Officer Johnny Baldwin. We now are about to have some training taking place. My executive assistant, Richard Burke, is setting that up through the Mississippi Municipal League. And Officer Grover, along with Mr. Burke, and also Jackie Ezell, who is working clerical at City Hall during the afternoons and will be providing clerical duties in this area. They will be going to Jackson very soon to meet with individuals in the MML, to include the MML's attorney, Mr. Troy Johnston, who teaches the seminars to MML members on code enforcement, and they will be receiving very good training. They also are working, and I hope that it will be done soon, with Dustin Hinkle. We are hoping to have a landing page on our website for the purpose of citizens and aldermen reporting code violations in our city. These code violations have to do with dilapidated property, improper maintenance of dwellings, vehicles and yards, other things that are just very common code violations in our city. We do ask for everyone's patience. We are starting afresh, but we already have quite a list of addresses that we're working. I do want to give a report that a dwelling that had burned in the 300 block of North Rankin was demolished yesterday, and we are very grateful to the homeowner for working with us to get that done. We are hoping now that that lot will be cleaned very soon. Also, the city attorney is having to take action on our behalf with Shoney's and with the South China restaurant because both properties have fallen into a very dangerous state of disrepair. And so that is being done. There are other code violations in our city that we're looking at. One that I want to mention that could be a possible code violation is a property on East Franklin Street that appears to be operating as a nightclub, even though it is licensed only as a cafe. And that would constitute a violation. And so we're looking into that. And then there are others. We are always, and there are some that I know are in the news and public conversation, but the city attorney's asked me not to bring those up at the matter because he's working privately as our attorney on those matters. So I just ask everyone to be patient with us, as I said, but no, we are moving in a new direction. That is code enforcement, animal control. As you know, in our new budget, we did budget for another animal control position. We've not filled that position because we are having, as everyone knows, a difficulty finding a place to take animals. Many of the places that we relied upon in the past, including some in Jackson and Madison County, are now full. It is a challenge, but I will be meeting with members of the Humane Society Board of Directors next week. I'm looking forward to that meeting. We have had a meeting already in the fall. We've had some private conversations, and I hope that we may have some ideas and some plans to bring forward. In the meantime, however, I am asking the police chief and through all of the police officers to have good training on our new animal ordinance, because there are provisions in that animal ordinance against having too many animals, against having vicious animals, also against tethering, against any animal cruelty of any kind. And we want to make sure that the officers, not just the animal control officer, but all the officers understand that ordinance and are able to enforce it. We also want to send a message out to the community. Endangerment because of vicious animals is not something we can tolerate in the city of Natchez. And it has come to our attention that there have been some instances recently of dogs and cats being injured or killed by vicious animals in our community. Our ordinance allows for the humane, what is the word?
Society.
Well, it's actually when an animal is deemed to be a threat or a danger to the community, it is a humane form of euthanasia, and that is in our ordinance. And so we want to make sure that's carried out. And our instructions to our police department, and not just our animal control officer, but all officers, if we encounter a situation where an animal is deemed to be a vicious animal and a danger to other animals, then that animal must be euthanized. And so we do that because we don't want it to then not just be your family pet, but to be a child or some other person in our community. We take it very seriously, and I just wanted to make that comment on the record tonight. I also want to ask Dustin, who does such a great job for us, to bring up some images regarding the RAISE grant. This is hot off the press, and I do have copies for you, Aldermen. We have already approved this. It was put in our minutes, as you know, about a month ago when we had a revised scope of work for the RAISE grant. But I want to just report that Russ, Brian, and our team at Neil Schaefer, working with the city and with various stakeholders, a very large list of stakeholders, have completed our RAISE grant application. It was submitted yesterday, today being the deadline, and we are very excited about this RAISE grant application. It is for our Forks to Freedom Carter, and this is a very appropriate grant for us to have applied for during this month of Black History Month. This grant will provide for $10.4 million, $10,450,000 in improvements all the way from the flyover to the intersections of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street, Jefferson Street, and St. Catherine Street at what is now the MLK Triangle. It will include signage and beautiful landscaping, lighting, even banners to draw individuals downtown at the flyover, and proper signage so that individuals will know that they can go downtown by way of Devereaux Drive instead of taking the flyover and bypassing downtown Natchez. Even though we have another downtown access point at Liberty Road, we want to breathe new life into the Devereaux Drive area. We also are including better lighting and landscaping along the median of Devereaux Drive. We are also excited about signage and improvements, especially for pedestrian use in the area of Forks of the Road. And I want to thank Kathleen Bond and the Park Service for working with us on this part of this grant. It will also include the renovation of a historic bridge that is on city property over the creek there, where so many years ago, sadly, enslaved Africans were walked across that area on their way to the Forks of the Road slave market. We are looking forward to also better sidewalks in that area, including a sidewalk that will wrap that historic site where that bridge is and create a connection to Concord Park. We also are looking forward to the repaving of St. Catherine Street, East Franklin Street, to include parking, to include a bike lane, and 2 lanes of traffic. We are also excited. And yes, I saw Alderwoman Irving clapping. Isn't it needed? When we met out there with the engineers, they said, well, we're going to need to do some new striping. I said, why are you going to put new striping on old pavement?
Thank you.
It needs to be resurfaced.
That's awesome.
And then if you go on to Forks of the Road, past Forks of the Road to MLK Triangle, our vision for Revels Plaza will be coming to pass once we get this grant. And I say once we get it. If we could show an image, we want to thank the Downtown Natchez Alliance, Zion Chapel, and in particular, Norma West and also Chesney Doyle for all of their passion. And also, we want to thank Reverend Burden Mitchell, who is the current pastor at Zion Chapel, who has worked so hard with everyone else to bring this project about, to honor his great pastor in history, Hiram Revels, who actually was pastor at Zion Chapel. And so included in the grant application, funds necessary to create the green space and to erect the statue to the great Hiram Revels. It will be the only known statue of this great man in the United States of America of this substance. And what a great tribute to the very first African American to serve in either house of Congress in our nation's capital in the year 1870-71. It will include, as I said, the improvements all through this area for pedestrian-friendly movement, and we hope also to revitalize a very historic area of town. And so you have the very lengthy description, and I will be flying out early in the morning to Washington, D.C., and I look forward to a visit with Congressman Thompson, who we have already communicated. He will be at the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative Conference, and we are excited that he will be there and we will be able to speak to him about this project. We have already prepared a letter of support for him to sign. In addition to that, we hope to see Senator Wicker, Roger Wicker, and we have also prepared a letter of support for him to sign. We are working on others, and let's just pray that this comes to pass for the city of Natchez. That is my report on the RAISE grant. Any questions?
I just have a comment.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
For those that did not know, all those great ideas and future endeavors for St. Catherine Street and that whole neighborhood, that is in Ward 4. That is in Ward 4. So I'm very pleased to see that come. Hopefully it comes to fruition really soon. I feel that it will. Very optimistic about it because everyone wants to visit Natchez and come and explore what we have here.
Yes,
They want to come. I see them all the time at the Forks of the Road. I mean, everybody comes to Natchez, comes to the Forks of the Road. Now they're going to have the bridge sign all these other. That I think that's wonderful, Mayor. And just to see this is awesome.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Thank you. It's exciting.
Yes.
It's really exciting. And Zion Chapel has done such a beautiful job on the old filling station building.
They have.
We're so grateful and enjoyed participating in the Black History Month parade there just this past Monday. Great area of our city. Thank you. Legends Concert. Also, we are asking you to save the date for June 17th, 23. This will be our Juneteenth celebration as a city at the City Auditorium. I don't know if we have a graphic. I think Dustin's working on it. Be watching. There will be an email going out from the mayor's office in a couple days promoting this event. And we ask that you share this event and get the word out because this is going to be great. We have already committed Dorothy Moore as the headline artist, along with a host of others, Wazzy Ely, Alvin Youngblood Hart. I'm excited too about Alvin Shelby and the choir that he's putting together. Aura Reed, and others. And we will have great musical tributes to so much Natchez music history. When you see this email coming out in a couple days, please share it. And we're hoping the Natchez Democrat can help share this. We are going to be looking to individuals in our community to be sponsors. But I'm proud to say that Taco Bell has already stepped up, along with the city of Natchez, to be major sponsors. Magnolia Bluffs, we are waiting on final word from Visit Natchez, but the indication is that they will. And then we have a host of others that we have identified, and we hope that the sponsorships will come in. The sponsorships from the city include the $2,500 that we already put toward this during our Black History Month. But the city also always puts a contribution toward Juneteenth. So we'll be looking at that between now and June.
Would it be the
And
same
that's, and
contribution?
it will, 2,500. We have been giving, let me just say, there is not going to be the Soul Food Fusion event that night. Jarita Fraser King has expressed to me that being that it's so hot, that she is moving that event to the fall. So just letting everyone know. And so this will be our Juneteenth event. We will have a Juneteenth Thursday event, as we always do, at NAPAC. And so do mark your calendars also for June 15th. As we always do that Thursday evening, we will have a program and awards presentation program at NAPAC. Any questions on that? I do want to share this. I'm so glad that Mr. Tipton said what he did about retiring the bond on the Natchez Grand Hotel. It's important to note that that occurred last year with the Holiday Inn project. Am I right, Madam Clerk? Or maybe the year before?
We actually have, I think, this year and one more year on the
On the
Holiday
Holiday
Inn.
Inn, there was another one I thought that we retired. Maybe I got the dates wrong. The reason I say that, though, is it's significant to say this because I know it was reported in the paper that the bond is being supported by taxpayer dollars to support the Yola project, and that is a bit misleading. It's being supported by sales tax dollars in a very similar fashion to the bonds that have been done for the Grand Hotel and for the Holiday Inn. So when we talk about taxpayer dollars, let's not confuse the public. Taxpayer dollars here in Adams County and in the city of Natchez are not going into the Yola project except in the form of sales tax. And we are able now, because of the motion you as a board made last week, we're able to tap into a great incentive program through the Mississippi Development Authority, which is a tourism rebate. What that means is, rather than just a typical TIF, where a portion of the sales taxes go in the Eola project, all of the sales taxes collected in that 7%, the city's portion and the state's portion, will go into the project. So it's an exciting project, but I did want to clarify, very similar to the Grand Hotel, the Holiday Inn project, this is not being paid for by the taxpayer dollars in our city and county. Is being paid for by sales taxes. And the vast majority of these sales taxes are sales taxes that go to the city of Jackson, to Jackson, to the state of Mississippi. But they are going to come back now into this project because of the tourism rebate program. Isn't that great news? And an important clarification. One last thing that I do need to ask, and I do want to make sure everyone understands, we do have a brief executive session tonight. We need to discuss a personnel matter pertaining to the police department. But before we do that, we have one more item for you. The state of Mississippi, and let's see, Richard, do we have the resolution? Yes. The state of Mississippi funded a grant program, $10 million for outdoor projects that are related to nature, conservation, and also getting people out in the outdoors and taking advantage of the beautiful outdoors and outdoor activities in Mississippi. This Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust Program is open for applications all over our state for grant projects. Mr. Burke, we have been working on this. We have looked at various opportunities within our city and county to apply. And the deadline being today, we actually settled on one at Duncan Park that you actually put together. Mr. Burt, would you like to come and make a presentation about it? And then we're going to ask, this is a 100% grant with no match required.
Yes, so we looked at several other projects where we would have to partner with other entities because it was on their land. So we started looking at what we could do with city land. And with Duncan Park, this would allow us to expand our disc golf course as well as make it a trail for conservation education purposes. What we'll do is we'll be making interpretive signs talking about the flora and the fauna that's found at Duncan Park. So it really gives an educational opportunity to everyone in the city, not just students. Of course, students would be targeted with this, but with it being a 100% grant, no match, why would we let this deadline pass without doing something that would enhance one of our features?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Burke. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion?
I was just gonna
Yes,
ask,
Alderwoman Irving.
what's the amount of the grant?
We are applying for, don't hold me to this exact to the number, but I think it's $26,045.
Oh, okay.
It's not a huge, enormous amount. So.
Every dollar counts.
Yep, absolutely.
No match.
Any further discussion?
Call for the question.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right, anyone opposed to the call for the question? We'll then proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Right.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Speaking of our parks, I do need to say one thing. Some misinformation was distributed throughout the community on Facebook today, stating that the city was no longer going to allow Dixie Youth Baseball to use fields at Duncan Park. That is a misnomer. It is something that got out there that is not true, and that has been answered today, this afternoon. Far from that, the city is working very hard to get the fields ready, bleachers ready, buildings, so that all can enjoy the baseball fields that we have at our public park. Dixie Youth and all other groups included. And I just wanted to answer that. You know, Facebook can be a really great thing. I've got a wedding ring that speaks to that, but it also can get some rumors out there. And so please help us dispel that rumor. I think it's important to make that announcement. Okay. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to go into a closed determination to discuss a matter. Yes, Alderman Davis.
The fire chief got that information now.
Oh, I had totally forgotten. Chief Arrington, let's take care of that before we do this. I'm so sorry. I meant to call you back.
Okay, so as we discussed earlier, the two vehicles that we are speaking of is one is a 2002 red Crown Vic. It has 146,308 miles on it. VIN number.
You can just
I give you the last four. It's 5972. There's also a gray Crown Vic. 2001. It has 179,259 miles on it. VIN number 5014. So those are the two vehicles that we are looking to surplus.
Motion made by Alderman Davis to surplus those, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
I think there's been some discussion of how to use them, but the first step first, we've surplus them. So whether you want to send them to auction or you could use them, in training exercises, I think the city's at liberty to do that, correct?
We have to come back and tell them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I do want to point out that the most valuable vehicle, of course, we want to send to auction to get the most money that we can. And the less valuable vehicle, if it cannot be sold for what the reserve would be at the auction, then that would be the one that we decide to use for training.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Mr. Callaway, the motion to surplus these two vehicles is sufficient. We don't need to have the full explanation. I mean, it could be noted in the minutes, but does that need to be in the motion?
His
His intention.
on how to dispose of the vehicles, it would be cleaner if we added that to the motion. If we're
Okay.
And
All right.
if we can be, again, formal as y'all want to be, but I think if Moving adopts that portion into his motion and the second agrees with that, then we'll call that an amendment. Clerk can put it in the minutes.
Okay. All right. We'll consider it amended to include the descriptions that you just provided of your intentions. Okay. And Alderman, you agree?
Yes.
All right. So the motion is before us. Any further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Carl?
Anyone opposed to the call? All right, we will proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Chief. I now will look for a motion to allow us to go into a closed determination for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Davis and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion. We'll call for the question. Any opposed to the call? We'll then proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you. We're back. I will entertain a motion to adjourn our closed determination.
So move.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, second. Second by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Are anyone opposed to the call? We'll then proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Report, we had a closed determination that there is a personnel matter pertaining to the police department that warrants further discussion in executive session and does qualify under state law as a subject matter to be discussed in executive session. Mr. Attorney?
Regarding an employee.
Regarding an employee. And so I now will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
For that purpose. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman
Before
Fraser.
we go into executive session, can the police chief give me the employee number? If we decide to take any action today.
Yes,
You just had a number on hand.
yes, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
We sure will. We now will call for the question.
Call.
All right, question's been called. Anyone opposed to the call? All right, we will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We'll go back to executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our executive session. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded.
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion on the motion? We will call for the question.
Second.
Question's been called. Anyone opposed to the question? We will then proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We discuss a personnel matter that is confidential in nature involving an employee of the police department. Discussion was held, but no action was taken. And the minutes will reflect when we adjourn the meeting. At this time, we will now call for the motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion made by Alderman Davis,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion? Anyone opposed to the motion?
I do.
We will call the question. Any opposed to the question? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. Motion carries.